So that actually leads us pretty nicely into my new segment. So Caleb has Trailer Watch. Um, we got to figure out like some kind of double entendre with the tornado thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what that is, but we got Trailer Watch, and I was thinking, my expertise is in knowing too much about specific franchises. And I think Caleb, you could attest that like you are fairly familiar with Kingdom Hearts lore. I
Mm-hmm.
know Kingdom Hearts lore. Um and so like, there's all sorts of stuff that I just kind of have in my brain. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's other franchises. Like I know a ton about Zelda, Sonic, Trails, all sorts of stuff. So, I was thinking, oh, this could be my segment,
Mm-hmm.
my kind of special thing. And what better way to introduce my new segment titled Ezra's Crazy Lore and Theories with a Kingdom Hearts related theory that I have developed over the past couple weeks.
What?
Yep.
What?
So
Oh, no, because I know where this is going. I'm like, what?
so to preface, a couple weeks ago, I had told Caleb that I needed him to do some
Oh
research
no.
on Drakengard lore.
Oh
And
no.
what he doesn't know is that that was not in service of a Drakengard and Nier explanation. That was in
Oh no.
service of a Square Enix theory and explanation, I guess is the best way I would call it. So,
See, that's the part I was not aware of, and that's why I'm
yeah.
freaking out. Because now my mind is kind of like, what?
So yeah,
Where
you're
are we
like, where?
going with this?
Yeah, you have to let me cook a little bit.
Okay,
All
I'll let
right.
you cook.
First things first, we have to start with Final Fantasy because
Fine.
this is kind of the thing that kind of the glue that kind of holds it all together in my mind is Final Fantasy. So, and I do have to spoil a little bit of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Not much, and you're really not missing out on much, anyways.
Okay.
So in Final Fantasy VII Remake, based
Mhm.
on the visuals of the Sephiroth fight in that game, it is strongly suggested, strongly implied that the Sephiroth that you fight at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake is the same Sephiroth from the end of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children.
Okay, that's not really much of a spoiler,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
and if you know, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children is a sequel to the original Final Fantasy VII,
Right.
so it has created this kind of split timeline thing in the Seven Remake trilogy where Zack is still alive in an alternate timeline. There's all sorts of
Mm.
like crazy stuff that's going on in the Seven franchise. Um, Now, I posited a little while ago that it is possible that the Sephiroth that we fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 and KH1, but mostly Kingdom Hearts 2, is there's a chance that that could be considered the same Sephiroth, right?
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Am I
yeah.
wrong? Like, there's a chance and this has been further compounded by the new location that we're going to in Kingdom Hearts being Quadratum, which is basically just square, right? So we're going to square in the next game. So we've got that side of things. We've got that side. Jumping over to Drakengard, there is this. I guess Drakengard and Nier, because they're kind of both the same thing. There is this. There are kind of two simultaneous timelines sort of running at the same time in that franchise. They kind of begin and end at different points, and there's a theory that it's all kind of looping around, so it all kind of feeds into itself. But the Nier franchise has this concept of alternate dimensions that is very much a part of the franchise, the lore of the franchise. And the reason that Nier exists is because the main character at the end of Drakengard 1 in ending E ends up in modern day Tokyo in the Nier timeline. So it all kind of spirals out of control from there. So I was kind of thinking about that. I was listening to some stuff, and I was reading Reddit, and somebody pointed out that the Final Fantasy 14 crossover is canon to the Nier timeline.
Oh, of course it is, because it's
Yoko Taro.
Because it's Yoko Taro. Exactly.
Because Yoko Taro can't control himself.
Yeah.
And
well, I don't blame him. I would do the same thing.
I would absolutely do all of the same stuff that he does.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this, and there's not Sephiroth isn't in Final Fantasy 14. He's not in there
yet. No, I'm joking.
I mean,
I wouldn't put it past them.
No, I unironically think he could end up there. There's no reason he couldn't. It's just there's all sorts of stuff. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, like, man, Sora really is only 1 degree separated from the Nier franchise in a lot of ways.
Okay.
And Final Fantasy has a long... I mean, if Dissidia is to be taken as a possible thing in the Final Fantasy universe, if it's taken that it's something that could happen, Sephiroth and Final Fantasy 14 are confirmed to exist in the same existence, I guess is the best way I could put it, where they are technically able to cross over because they share a multiverse is kind of how I would put that. So if again, this is I recognize how absolutely insane this theory is, but if the Sephiroth from Advent Children has been time traveling this whole time into like different franchises, I mean, we could say that the Sephiroth in Smash is the Advent Children Sephiroth. Like, there's all sorts of like different ways in which this could be happening. And so, yeah, I think if that is a possibility, we have a realm where Kingdom Hearts and the Drakengard franchise and Nier could theoretically cross over, and Final Fantasy is kind of the bridge between worlds in that way. And I mean, I don't really have a like theory as to like what the result could be of this. I mean, if you wanted to posit that somehow
Here's
Kingdom Hearts is canon to the near timeline and could have some kind of effect on it, I would be willing to entertain that, but I don't have like a hard like, oh, this is what's going to happen as a result. Cuz I don't have that. I just have this idea that like they do all exist together.
well. Here's yeah. I'm gonna help your theory here. Okay, you
Okay.
ready?
All right.
So I think it's from the evidence that has been placed before me. I can reasonably figure it out how this could happen. Okay, so one thing to be clear, Quadratum is seeming to be this center point,
Yeah.
this focal point, right?
Yep.
And we've, Final Fantasy 15,
Yeah.
seems to be
Yeah,
the
that's
most
another
apparent.
that's another aspect of this that
Exactly.
Yozora is so very clearly a it has something to do with Noctis, be it the version of Noctis from Versus 13 or the version we got in 15. Yeah.
And I think that, if we are thinking along the lines of Quadratum being like the hollow bastion
Yeah.
of this world of fiction,
Mm-hmm.
um, that means it's not just limited to Final Fantasy 15. And this can be proven already without even. There's already an apparent subtlety. Let's just put it that way.
In the KH4 trailer.
And not even just that in the KH4 trailer, just in Remind and in the base game, the secret ending. It is not just Final Fantasy 15 that's teased. It's the return of The World Ends With You, which is already inherently
Yeah, I
nowhere near
mean,
about Kingdom Hearts.
yeah. Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
and yeah, I mean what we said what I said to you, I think at some point was it was a little telling to me that they just said there will not be the World Ends With You characters in Kingdom Hearts 3. That like in the lead up to that game, they just said it. Right? And to me that was like, oh, they're cooking something. And I didn't know what it
Yeah.
was, but I was like, oh, and now that we have there's a lot of, I wouldn't say evidence necessarily to suggest that the World Ends With You is going to end up somehow tying into the KH universe. I mean, they've Nomura was basically when the whole like Neo World Ends With You box art thing was happening. He basically was like, "Oh yeah, I guess that's kind of a funny coincidence." So
Yeah.
like there's I wouldn't say that it's a sure thing, but I do think that Square is a part of this equation. And what I'm hoping,
we're forgetting about one important aspect of it, though. It's not just the teases within the secret ending and Remind. There's also Dream Drop distance to think about. And what is one thing that what's his name? Joshua says one of his last lines to Sora. I think it is his last line to Sora. See you in Shibuya.
Oh yeah, he does. He says, "See you in Shibuya."
It's like so crystal clear
and
that they could easily bring the World Ends With You back within Quadratum.
Yeah.
That it could open the floodgates for any Square property to show up.
Yeah. Well,
so I agree with you.
And I think there's really, I mean, so the hope for me, because there, Star Wars is all but confirmed for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yes.
The hope is that they do all sorts of crazy stuff with Disney worlds.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily. So I think I want to say I don't necessarily want Sora to end up fighting the machines from Automata and like be a part of that
Mm.
narrative. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I think Yoko Taro doesn't think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is Sora end up in one of the like two timelines, whatever that ends up being,
Hmm.
and participates in some kind of
Well,
like
it goes
conflict
down
or
to
something, part of the history or something like that. Like
right.
maybe he's part of maybe he like is there when the aliens first attack Earth, or whatever it ends up being. And so Yoko Taro can kind of work it in without breaking the
Right.
franchise, because part of the problem with any potential crossover between Kingdom Hearts and Nier is the fact that they are diametrically opposed franchises in their method of storytelling, where Nier is very much like it's all gray area. There's
Hmm.
no there's kind of no good guys and no outright evil people. Everybody's kind of got their problems. Kingdom Hearts is like, we have the good guys and we have the bad guys. And yeah, the bad guys are a little sympathetic, but we still got to beat up the bad guys, because the bad guys are going to end the world, or whatever it ends up
Hmm.
being at that time. So yeah, I think a lot was said like, oh, what if at the end of the Sephiroth fight in KH2, when Cloud and Sephiroth kind of go off and continue their battle to who knows where, what if they ended up in Quadratum,
Hmm.
right? What if.
Or even just I think it's highly possible that any of these characters could just be within interconnected within the story
Yeah,
of
yeah,
whatever Kingdom Hearts 4 is, because like it could be as simple as how Kingdom Hearts 1 was, where the Final Fantasy characters were worked into the story
yeah,
almost from the beginning and then all the way to the end, and they had their own story of, this is our world, we can't go back to it,
mm-hmm,
and this is our journey back to it, and this
yep,
is like the Final Fantasy characters have a complete arc in both KH1 and KH2. Like there's a
yeah,
purpose to them being there, and they can easily work whatever characters they can bring in. Like if they wanted to bring 2B in, you know what I'm saying, or
yeah,
and be able to bring those characters in and just have them trapped and fight to go back. I think it could easily work and work within whatever Yoko Taro's bad brain he has.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Well, and
Um,
and yeah, I mean, I kind of my last little piece of the puzzle is my guy Yoko Taro's been a little quiet ever since
he
Near
is.
Replicant. Uh, Now that said, we had the Voice of Cards trilogy. He's
Hmm.
working on a game with Sega, so like it's not like he hasn't been doing anything. But
Oh, just wait, Ezra. Just wait, because the Game Awards is coming up, and I'm going to have a wild trailer watch segment coming up
okay,
soon.
okay,
So just you wait,
okay.
and
I'm
this,
excited.
a
I'm
little
excited.
tease of the crazy the
Um,
craziness that will be happening during that time.
I think, but what has also been extremely quiet is
Mm,
the Kingdom Hearts team.
exactly.
And again, it's not. This doesn't confirm anything. I'm not getting my hopes up. I
Hmm.
refuse to to try to like speak this into existence and then be disappointed when it doesn't happen. I'm almost certain none of this is going to come to fruition.
Absolutely.
But
But
if in
I
the
mean,
next Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, anywhere, Yoko Taro is listed as part of the development team, I will lose my mind. Like,
well, even if we get like a tease of a certain like sword or something,
yeah, I mean, if we get a sword, I will be like, holy crap, what are they doing?
we would be
Like,
absolutely losing our
I
mind.
would be losing my absolute mind. There's
Like if say that trailer happens and it's like at the Game Awards and we're somehow able to figure out being in the theaters or something, everybody else will be like woo, and then we're going to be like what
what?
we'll be
Yoko Taro?
losing our minds.
Yeah. No, Tetsuya Nomura in collaboration with Yoko Taro. Like,
Exactly.
that is a sentence that I think nobody could deny sounds really interesting on its own. And then that taking place within Kingdom Hearts is even more like, oh, how are they going to manage this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the end, the end of that. It's pretty wild. We'll
That was wild.
I'll be back. I'll probably do some more like I'll probably not do a whole ton of like my own theories, but more like, oh, here's what the lore explanation. I mean, I think my next one's probably going to be Zelda, because there's all sorts of like crazy stuff to do with like timelines and they're the whole concept of the spirit of the hero and stuff in Zelda. So there's a lot that can be pulled from, and it doesn't like it doesn't, it's not me like positing something, it's me trying to explain something bananas. So yeah, I hope that was that was fun for me. I hope
Oh
that was
yeah.
fun for everybody else.
Well, that was wild because I
yeah.
was not expecting that. I'll be honest. I was
Yeah.
expecting to deep dive into Nier and not Kingdom Hearts. So
Yeah,
that
I was when I remember I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't know what's gonna happen.
I was pretty sure it was going to be Nier.
Yeah.
I knew that from what you told me, but I was more like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was nervous too because I haven't played Replicant, so I was like,
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't gonna
deep
spoil
dive into
it.
Replicant.
I wasn't gonna spoil
Which,
Replicants. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Replicants. And it's easy enough to explain near lore while also going around all of the important stuff in Replicant,
Yeah.
actually, because there's the story of Replicant, but all of like the important stuff for the timeline of Nier actually happens as kind of an undercurrent of Replicant, and it doesn't really like come to the surface all that much. So it's like, as long as you like avoid naming too many names, you could kind of like get away with spoiling all of Replicant without ruining a player's experience with it. But yeah, I think I wasn't gonna do that anyways. I was more interested in bringing this absolutely insane Sephiroth theory into light. All right, so kind of our last big